Okay, hello and welcome to our new program here, Indie Band Guru Knowledge to Get Known. Today we have a awesome special guest to teach me a lot and hopefully teach you guys a lot as well. We have Suzanne Yada. I said it wrong already. Suzanne, introduce yourself.
It's okay. Suzanne Yada, everybody gets it wrong, so I respond to both. But my name is Suzanne, and I am also a singer-songwriter that goes into a little spiral, but by day I work with businesses to get their Facebook ad campaigns in order and optimized. So that's what I do all day. And I know a lot that translates really well to the music industry, to independent musicians, and even to run some ad campaigns myself. And so I have a lot of experience on both the business side and the artistic side to offer.
Right. That's why I discovered you through your music, which, I love. It's fabulous. We're both big Radiohead fans, so it's another big connection. But then I learned more of what you do, and it all seems so mystical, and you're able to make it happen. I haven't really figured it all out yet, but I'm getting better and better with your help. But in general, how important do you think Facebook is to musicians nowadays?
It really depends. I do think that Facebook is incredibly important. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it full time. Having 2 billion users is something to be it's something to deal with, and I do think that you do need a Facebook presence of some sort. I also know that depending on the generation, the younger generation are now like exclusively Instagram and maybe Snapchat, but mostly Instagram. The good news is, well, I say good news. You could take it either way, but Facebook owns Instagram and it's the same advertising platform. So whether or not you're speaking to an older generation or younger generation, you still want to reach them through Facebook, really.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it makes me feel old a little bit because, Facebook has been this, monster. After we really show my age, I had a MySpace page, and I think you might have as well. So
Yep.
it is what it is, and we move forward. That's the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
And as things change, we have to keep adapting, and I think it's working out well for both of us.
Right, and to the point of MySpace, actually, it also is a warning that you can build amazing stuff over social media, but they still own it, and if they tank, then your connections are gone. So I do train people how to engage with people on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever social media platform works for them, their audience, but then bring them in to their own world, which is your own website, your own email address. That's something that is not hosted by a third party that you can keep whether or not Facebook changes its algorithm again.
Right. The power of the list will never be dominated over, but getting them there is, the hard part. And this is definitely a good outlet. Speaking, you mentioned the change in the algorithm. There's been a lot of talk of that recently. What are your thoughts on this whole, new Facebook algorithm that is promising to destroy all musicians if you read the right articles?
So here's the thing. I work pretty much exclusively with Facebook advertising. The algorithm does not affect the advertising platform. It does affect people who are trying to do free and organic traffic. So now I'm seeing an influx of people who are asking me questions because they know that it's more important. If you're gonna play by Facebook rules, you need to learn the rules. And I'm in this like precarious position because I don't like the fact that we have to now keep paying and paying and paying just to be seen on Facebook. But because it's what I do, either you want to play the game or not. And I would suggest let's learn the rules and see how we can do this most efficiently. So okay, the algorithm, there's a couple of things that are really important. One is that Facebook is prioritizing connections between people. It's not prioritizing content. Whatever content is, it's like packing peanuts almost in this thing. It's not prioritizing video. That's too passive. It's not prioritizing just random posts that people don't leave comments on. if people leave lengthy comments, that's a great sign. So there's a few things that you still can do that still have organic reach. And I've been actually surprised with my own music page that I still get organic reach when I ask questions, when I even just plain text questions like, what's your favorite rainy day song? I always get at least some comments there. And just the other day I posted, those little memes that go around that says, post your favorite GIF, describing something. Those are also still really popular, but they're not the kind of posts that you as a musician prioritize. It's not the ones that you really want out there. It's not the, hey, come listen to my music, hey, come to my show, hey, come buy some merch. Facebook is doing this on purpose because it can recognize a little bit when your post is promotional, and it will kind of bury everything. And this has already been happening for years, honestly. So this new algorithm just means that Facebook is going to prioritize things that connect people to each other. So Facebook Lives, passive video, not so much anymore. Facebook Lives are going to be awesome, and that is great for musicians. That's really a perfect venue to just hop on, play a song, talk to people, take requests, really engage and interact with your fans. Facebook Lives are going to be great. Groups are also going to be great. So either joining groups. I'm a member of too many Radiohead groups, and I interact with all those. And that sometimes makes connections, and they come back to my music if I post like a cover in there or something. You can also host your own group for your mega fans, have some sort of reason for them to join it, make it entertaining, make it fun. Maybe that's where you push your Facebook Lives. But groups are going to be prioritized. You could probably tell within the last 3 or 4 weeks that your newsfeed has become a lot more group heavy. So there's Facebook Lives, groups, and just simple interactive posts that let people comment, and even let people comment at length. That's still going to be fairly, I don't want to say safe, but it's going to be prioritized now as far as free organic posts go. It is not, if you post if you're trying to keep all your social media up and you're posting 5 times a day on a Facebook page, that's no longer honestly worth your time. So just make smarter, more engaging posts in the middle of all of your promotional posts, and then put a couple bucks down on the things you really want to be seen. The promotional ones, like you've got your show coming up or whatever. You can just boost that in a smart way to make both the free content and the paid content work together.
Right. The bottom line is Facebook makes the rules, and we're going to have to play by them. It's their platform. We do want to get people to our platform, but at this point, play by their rules and you're going to have success.
Right.
It works if you do it right. Speaking of that, you mentioned being in groups and whatnot. I have my Indie Band Guru page and my personal page, and I'm in groups in both of them. What is, for a musician, is it better to have a personal profile or a specific artist profile?
So I have to be clear that using your personal profile for business use is against terms and conditions of Facebook. The reason why is they do want your money. And so if you build up a personal profile that has all the fans and your interactions, there's a couple of reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. One is you're limited. You can't have, you could have a follower personal page, but I wouldn't recommend it. But you are limited in what you can do with groups. You can't have 100,000 people really be your personal friends. you could have followers, but that's not really what the follower function is for. So I recommend pages mostly because you get analytics and some really cool retargeting options. And for me as a Facebook ad specialist, I'm always looking for how I can re-engage with people who have already engaged with me. So I'll kind of keep it concise, but for example, if I post a video that's got my song on it or whatever to my personal profile, people will watch it, people will like it, thumbs up, hearts, whatever. Cool. And then I can't really do anything with that anymore. Again, because I want to lead people off of Facebook and onto my website and onto my email list. When I post a video on my page, I actually can run an ad to anybody who's watched a certain percentage of that video and then ask them, hey, sign up for my email list. Hey, I saw you enjoyed the video, sign up for my email list. Like, you can retarget people through your page. And so if you're looking to actually like get new fans, you're not going to get it really through your personal profile. You're going to get it through your page, and you're going to get it through a bit of advertising dollars.
That's, what it takes. Like, again, back to following the rules, and
Yep.
It works. I wasn't even aware of that terms of service of Facebook, so that's good to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can get away with a whole bunch of stuff now, but again, as algorithms refine more and more, they're just going to start making that even harder to use your personal Facebook profile for business.
Okay, so we're on the business page, and we decide it's time to run an ad. What's the first step of even getting together an ad? Because I think that's what trips a lot of people up.
Yeah.
They just don't know the first step, and they just throw it away. Like, oh, I can't do this. So what's the first step?
That's a great question because there are so many variables involved, but I can simplify it. What I have seen the most effective way, in fact, I was just mentioning it, it's showing a video to strangers, asking nothing else of them, but hey, hit play and discover some new music. And then you run a second ad asking them to go further into your music, sign up for an email for a free exclusive digital bundle with special so there is a lot out there, and it's worth, that's why my job is my job. That's why I do this full time. But if I could sum it up, get a really great video that has something that catches the eye. So if I'm scrolling in Facebook, there's what's called a pattern interrupt. I'm seeing Facebook content, and then all of a sudden, within the first 3 seconds of that video, I need to pay attention to your video. I would, if you haven't worked with the ads manager before, so a lot of people don't know this, but there's an entire back world of the Facebook ads manager that has so many options. I would not go there. Well, let's put it this way, if you're just starting out and you just want to boost a post, I would boost a video, and I would target lookalike audiences. I would target, okay, if you're just beginning, I get this stuff is really complex once you really get into it, but if I'm simplifying it, get a list of 10 bands, 10 artists that have fan bases that would love your music, and start targeting them, show that video to them, and then I would create an ad that led somebody to my email sign up page, and I would target people who have watched at least 25% of this video. Very basic, and there's some resources online that I can share that takes you a little more step by step through this. And I'm happy to shoot you the link if you wanted to share all that. But that's what we have to treat strangers and talk to strangers like they're strangers, and like a hi, hello, here's some cool stuff, okay, bye. And if they like you, then you could say, oh, hey, here's my contact information. It's like, you don't want to propose marriage on a first date. And we have to keep treating people like that in this new world of messaging. We have to make those human connections first. And if somebody leaves a comment on your video, then you respond and you make that connection. That's over and above what most musicians do already, and you will stand out.
Right.
So that's it in a nutshell, but there's, more complicated things that go around that. But that's
like you said, that's why we turn to people like you, because it does. I've tried it myself, and I went into the ads manager and got lost because there are so many options, and they make it difficult for a reason. So
I honestly believe there's a lot that Facebook does to just trick more money out of you, and I freaking can't stand it. So that's why I'm like, no, talk to me first. I will make sure that you only spend money on what you need instead of random placements that you didn't realize. I actually talked to somebody who tried to target globally. That's another thing. If you try and target like a worldwide audience, you're going to get lots and lots and lots of fake, cheap clicks from some third world countries, which is unfortunate because there are legit music fans there, but we can't really reach them through Facebook. It just, there's too much click farms. There's just too much. So that's another thing. If you're going to boost a post of this video, I limit it to they call it the big six English speaking language companies. If countries, if you're in an English speaking market, US, Canada, UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, try and keep it to that first and then explore different countries.
Well, that's I could from personal experience with that. Indie Band Guru attracted a lot of Indians that didn't even speak the language, but I was getting all these likes with all these long names, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm building up likes, but they're never going to interact with me. They're never going to really want anything I'm saying to them. So it kind of defeats the purpose. So
you got to be real careful with that. And it is unfortunate because there's legit people there who would love your music. The indie market actually does listen to a lot of English language music. It's just Facebook's not the platform for it. We got to find other ways to reach that market.
And as speaking of when we do reach them, what have you seen has been the best call to action? What is the thing that you could ask them in an ad to do that they'll do?
Push play and enjoy my music. That's really, honestly, Facebook. If you're talking to strangers, and you ask them to do anything else, you ask them to buy your stuff, you ask them to come to your show, it's obnoxious and people don't respond well. So if you put out a piece of content that looks like any other piece of content, enjoyable piece of content on Facebook, then you're not asking them to do things that feel like, I sometimes that first ad, I have no other call to action. There's just a video, no other link, no other nothing. Just because it looks like, oh, it's something I might enjoy. Like I'd have like a little top line on it. I'd write some copy around it. But the only button I want them to push is play. So that's for strangers. And then during the follow-ups, it's really, you want to find a way to get that email address and get it. And there are certain tactics. There are other indie folks who figured out different ways. And but essentially, all I want is you to push play. And if you like it, then I'm going to ask you for another call to action, which is usually sign up for my email list.
Right. Like you said, the second ad on that is really, you're going to have the call to action. The first one, just here it is. This is for you for nothing. I'm not asking you to do anything. And then they'll watch it. I think it scares a lot of people off right away when you see that big click here to do this, click here to do that. Just push play and let it go. And, we'll take it one step at a time. Now, another aspect I know people fear about Facebook advertising is they hear advertising, and we're all independent musicians, so money isn't the biggest thing we have. But how much can you get started with? From what I hear and what I've seen, it doesn't take as much as many people think.
Yeah, it doesn't. You can now getting started is the perfect phrase for it, because you can spend a buck a day on a video ad and get interesting analytics and see if it works and see if this, if this video matches up to this audience. Okay, great. You could start testing out things for a buck a day, $2 a day. And video, you can go as low as $1 a day. So, but with the click ad, which would usually be what your email call to action would be, Facebook gives you a minimum of $5 a day. It just depends on your goal of the ad. If it's more passive, then it's $1 a day. If you need click-throughs, it's $5 a day. So that's the minimum. In order to, again, so many variables, but anytime you advertise, you should have a plan on getting that money back. And what I've seen online is people making money back with merch and ticket sales and bundles. So you might want to, you can mess around with, just boosting here and there, but that's really throwing spaghetti to a wall. What I do all day is literally throwing spaghetti to a wall, but I'm in a very, it's kind of a scientific method. I'm testing this, switching off the ads that don't work and letting the ads that do work keep running and putting more money onto the winning horse, essentially. So, how much money, this is the most common question I get asked from both musicians and from businesses, like, how much money do I need to spend? How much money can you make back? And I don't really see it as like a sunken cost. This is an investment that will do a return on investment if you play your cards right. So it's like, it's not how much money am I spending, it's how much money can I make back? How much can I spend to make some stuff back? So with musicians, online merch sales and bundles, and also specialty, like I've seen people do create custom songs for anywhere from like $500 to like $2,000, $3,000 to customize a song for somebody's wedding or somebody's anniversary or somebody's celebration or something. So I've seen that make a bit of return. I've also seen bundles and upsells. Somebody might click through and want to buy one CD, but look, wait, we have a CD and a t-shirt we could send you for da-da-da-da-da. And that's through what we in the digital marketing world call a funnel. And that just means we're talking to strangers, now we're talking to friends, now we're talking to fans, and leading them through a process to warm them up, to create a relationship, because it's not like we have a billboard on the side of the road here. We're on social media. We need to be social, and we can talk to people who are specifically interested in us rather than talking blankly to a whole bunch of people who happen to be driving that road that day. So we need to treat it differently.
Right. It's like I said, it's just keep putting stuff out there. And as far as the video ads, I mean, I love the idea of video ads in particular, but how often should we change up an ad? Even if an ad, we find the ad that's working. Now, do we just stick with that and just try to reach new people, or maybe record a new video that's a little more specific or to a different audience? Like, how often should we rotate in different ads?
That's a great question. And again, it just depends. Most Facebook ads questions, by the way, can be answered with "it depends," like most of them. But it does depend. And I have known some people who have run the same ad for months. Usually you're gonna exhaust your audience. Usually you're gonna, people are starting to, it's called ad fatigue. and people start to get a little bored of it, or even the Facebook algorithm gets bored of it and doesn't know what to do with it after a while. So in the business world, ad fatigue happens like every 1 to 3 months. So think about new campaigns every 1 to 3 months. Also, some businesses have new campaigns every day, like twice a day. So it really does depend. If you have a new single out, put it up. If you have an album, this is actually a little sidetrack, but not quite. This is one of the benefits of doing Facebook advertising for musicians. Is this happens so often. It happened with me. I'll release something and it's awesome, but it releases to crickets and nobody gets to hear it. Facebook ads lets me get older material out that didn't see the light of day, because you can't really pitch it to blogs. They're not interested in already released material. You have to like create a new video around it or something. But with Facebook ads, it don't matter at all. So it just depends. So if you've got several songs out that you kind of want to create some sort of video for, or create some sort of content around, it's really all up to you. But I would say, don't use one ad and just let it run for a year. Do use like anywhere from 1 to 3 months, and it just depends on like what your stats are. If you're running out of audience, you definitely want to switch it up.
Yeah, I've seen those ads that just keep showing up my feed every day, and it's like, and on the other side of it though, I'll see them 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, all right, I guess I have to give this a watch and see what it is.
Right.
Well, it works then, but then if I still see it after that, it gets aggravating, and I'm like, then I kind of turn off the blind eye.
Yeah, there's a delicate balance there, and there's a rule of thumb in marketing that people need to see your brand at least 7 times before they remember you, and probably more than like 20 times before they really are ready to buy. So it's okay to let your ad be shown a few times, but if it's too many, then people start reacting negatively. You can see that data in the back end with your ads manager. You can see if people are positive react, negative react. You can see how many times your ad is shown to people. And if it's too high of a frequency, you can shut it off. So I wouldn't be afraid of putting your ad out. If you have a small audience and a big budget, that's going to be a little too much. So there is a sweet spot when you're talking to a cold audience, to strangers, and Facebook algorithms really does like something between like 200, 300,000 and 2 million, somewhere in there. So when you're building your audience, just make sure your audience is sizable enough so Facebook knows who to pick out from that audience, but not so small enough that it doesn't really get delivered, or it gets delivered too much to certain people.
Yeah, this is such great stuff. I appreciate it so much, Suzanne, for taking the time with us. And at the same time, I know you do both sides of it. You're able to run whole campaigns through your company, as well as training people to do it themselves. And that's what I appreciate more than anything, because that's what I try to do. I try to help musicians as much as I can, but training them is going to help all of us. So how can people get in touch with you to ask you a few questions and get to work with you?
Yes, so definitely shoot me an email if anything I said sparks questions, or you want to know more about what's going on with your campaigns. I do one-on-one consulting. I can do audits. I can do training. So talk to me through yadacreative.com, YADA creative.com, which is my business, and it'll be all businessy like and stuff. But I also work with musicians, and I'm happy to, especially if you're coming through Indie Band Guru, I could, slip you a little discount if you wanted.
That'd be great. We really appreciate that. We know that.
Sure.
And on the other side, I'm going to plug you. Definitely check out Little Spiral. It's just elegant piano music with a beautiful voice. And
Thank you.
It's very powerful music. It's one of the type of music I'll put on, and like an hour later, I'm like, wow, I'm still listening to this on repeat. How is that happening? So definitely check out Little Spiral. And once again, I wanted to thank you so much, Suzanne. And there'll be some comments underneath the video in the show notes. And I want people to get in touch with you. And let's take back this independent music world. For the good of us all. So thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.